This is a really interesting interview. Lisa, that you're going to meet in just a second, interviewed myself for the summit that she's holding. But this episode, I wanted to peel back. What is it from learning from literally the world's best in the industry? How can it be really distilled down into you and what you can be doing? What are the actions that you need to be taking forward with? What's actually holding you back at the end of the day? And we go deep into this. We get really vulnerable, and I asked Lisa, and I totally applaud Lisa, because we really go into like the things that we are personally holding ourselves back, and Lisa unveils, and I totally applaud her, and I know there's so much that you're going to be taking away from this. So get a pad and pen ready, get ready to take some notes, get ready to importantly take action on this. Also, the best place for you to join us after every episode is in the Fitness Business Success Circle. So I'll include a link below for you to click on over, join us in the Fitness Business Success Circle. I want to hear from you after this. What are you going to be actually taking action on? And if you've got any questions, let us come and help you as well. So let's enjoy. Lisa, you rock star. Thank you so much for coming onto the show. I am very pumped to have you here, because I feel like what we're going to be diving into is just the important stuff for what the listeners can start to apply, and especially with the angle that you're coming from. Like, why I wanted to bring you on is, you interviewed me, was like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, for a summit, and I want to talk about everything that you're doing, because I think the work that you're doing is amazing. But I'm so intrigued for how someone in your situation right now, like, you've got an upper hand, because you're going to be able to start applying things from knowing and being able to outreach so much right now. So firstly, thank you so much for taking the time and being here.
I'm so psyched to have another conversation with you, Chris. So after the last time we chatted, I was just on such an energetic high for the rest of the day. So, I mean, thank you so much for helping me start my weekend with that.
Well, the expectations are high, so I'm going to have to bring my A game for this. Okay, good.
Honestly, you could bring your C game and it would be better than most people's A game.
I'll never bring my C game,
Lisa.
I'll never bring my C game. All right, you know what? Who is Lisa, and why are you so phenomenal?
Wow, that's a really amazing question off the bat. Okay, so Lisa Simone she's an entrepreneur who really wants to help, quote unquote, the little guy. I've been someone who's worked in corporate, I've worked in agency, but I've never been super passionate about what I've been doing. I was lucky to start working in fitness and develop a love for it. And then somehow along the line, I started connecting with people who had left their corporate jobs to do what they're doing. And then I just got fired up. And then I turned into this one-dimensional person for a little while, because I was taking what I love to do on my own time, which is, doing different boxing classes, yoga, going to the farmer's market. And then I turned this into my career. Like the fact that in the middle of the day, I go for a run, or I hit up an aerial yoga class just to connect with some of my clients. That feels like such an amazing guilty indulgence.
Awesome. I love that.
So I'm someone who's just really fired up about, getting into service and really learning and growing and seeing who I become and evolve into. I think I was always a little bit scared to get out of that comfort zone and out of that box, and now I've grown some resilience.
That's really good. And I just want to jump straight into, so what I just wrote down with this talking point is lifestyle design, and two things right now, because you said service, and I think we also need to talk about selfish, because it's also about, how do I create a lifestyle, how do I create a business that gives me what I need, for then I am able to give what's needed to the others and be of service. How do you go about right now transitioning out of corporate world to now coming into having the freedom, the flexibility, the agility to design what it is that you want?
You know what? I've been really fortunate that a lot of it has evolved very naturally. I'm so very niche. Maybe for some of the entrepreneurs in your audience who are a little bit afraid to go into that niche and they tend to go broad, I'm so fantastically niched in my industry, niched for the Americans. It's really easy for people to find me and to have me work with them. So I've I've consciously attracted into my life the kind of people who I'm on a similar level with, who have similar goals to me, who have a similar mindset and approach. So a lot of the people who are my quote unquote clients are now my friends, just because, we obviously both have that desire to help people live lives full of vitality. That's the name of my company. So that worked out nicely. And just help them achieve their dreams. Like, if I can share one client story that's always one of my favorites, I work with these chiropractic twins, and they were on television one day, and it was a live studio audience. And for those of you who aren't familiar with me, I'm a visibility strategist, so I help people get on TV and magazines, etc. So it was a live studio audience, and they brought their mom and their aunt and their girlfriends. And at the end of the segment, their mom came up and gave me a hug and was like, "Thank you so much for helping my boy's career." And I was like, crying.
Sweet. But that's beautiful because I think, especially with where I'm at right now and like what's been stewing in my head. So let's just say, like, for the moment, we've been really thinking about, okay, we've really loved living in Bali now for like the last 2 to 3 years full time. It's been fantastic, but we're ready for a change. We're ready to move on right now. Like, we don't want to just stay here. And so it was like, okay, let's go back, buy a place in Australia, kind of like set up a base, and then we can kind of just continue to move around the world and see how we go and please. And something that I'm always like, when I initially moved from, say, Sydney to Dubai, then we went from Dubai to Bali, in each of these segments, I've always tried to be really conscious of the decisions I make, conscious of the habits I fall into, conscious of what I'm creating at the end of the day. And I love, because like, you're working with the people that you love to work with. Like, you're doing the work that you love to do. Like, that's not unconscious. Like, I don't, like, the humble you will say like, it's just kind of happened, but I think you've designed that. And I think that is a sticking point right now for so many people that could be listening and tuning in, because they're like, my business isn't giving me what I want. Maybe I'm not earning the money that I want. Maybe I don't have the freedom that I want. Maybe I'm not making the impact that I want at the end of the day. And I think what this comes down to is just making some conscious decisions of what do we need to do now to get to where we want to be able to go.
Yeah, I've really become inspired about lifestyle by design and getting out of the victim mentality.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to share something I saw online a few weeks ago. I saw that someone came out with a sweater that said, "Mondays are ruined by Sundays." Kind of implied that, oh, Monday's coming, we have to go back to work. And I'm like, how does everyone walk around with this attitude that 5 out of 7 days suck? Like, guess who that's up to? You know, I'm not saying we don't have responsibilities that we need to take care of, but if you don't like how your job is treating you or what you're doing, that is on you. You're not a victim of circumstance. You can take the actions and control and have the mindset to design what you love. And I really hope that you and I are living proof for people for that.
So true. I remember a little while ago, and I stole it from the person I heard it from, but it was, you are prostituting 5 days to get 2 days right now. And it's true. It's like, why would you have, in what other area of life would you exchange that sort of ratio of going, okay, I'm going to give 5 of my best to get only 2 back? Like, that's a losing formula right now. You would never do that anywhere else. So I love that you bring that up, because that's something really important. The other thing is the victim mentality. Like, this is where I want everyone to just be able to grab their cojones and just be like, you know what? Like, this is up to me at the end of the day. And so I think what I would love to pull apart was, what got you, Lisa, to take that leap from the corporate world to now being where you are? How did you grab your, metaphorically, cojones to do that?
You know what? It was done for me. The reality is I got let go from my corporate job, and I knew that I wanted to quit. So, okay, let's discuss the timeline of how this actually evolved.
Yes.
And I love how brutally honest I'm being now, because I don't know if I've shared this story before. So I've been in my corporate gig for about 2 years, and my grandmother was ill in Trinidad. So I went down with my mom and spent a week with my family there, and I just had the best time. And do you know what I kept saying the whole week? The whole week, I was like, I wish I could get fired. I wish I could get fired. I wish I could get fired. Guess what happened next week? Going to the VP's office, and HR is sitting there. I'm like, oh, wow, the universe really is listening, I guess.
That's
But
funny.
the fortunate thing is that I had started my business as a side hustle maybe about 8 months before.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really, really fortunate that I was already making almost the equivalent of my corporate income on the side.
Yep.
So when I got that, hey, you know, we're changing the way our team is structured and it results in you being let go, blah, 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 I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Bye. Hi.
You're like, high five. Thank you.
Totally. It was the universe giving me an out because, to be honest, I remember I wrote down in my agenda, I think it was August the 12th is the day I'm putting in my notice.
Mm-hmm.
And it must have been like late June, early July.
Wow.
And guess what? I was not actually really, like, that day would have come and gone.
Yep. Yep.
Because I didn't feel ready. I didn't have big enough savings. And the universe was like, no, you want to do this? You're going to do this.
I love that you
So
get
I'm
that
very
nudge,
grateful
but
I
you're
got
ready
that
for that
little
nudge.
push.
I know I applaud you because you designed the side hustle to give you exactly what you need to be able to do. So, in anyone in this situation right now where they've got to go through this transition period, and they go, okay, I'm in this situation right now, and I need to be able to take a bigger leap. I need to be able to like really radically change what's going on. How do you help someone actually go through that? How do you say, all right, this is a process. This is something that you can start to get this ball rolling?
Well, you know what? So in the last year, I've done a lot of work on mindset, whether that's reading books, listening to podcasts, and I've started to reframe things. So if I could take present day Lisa and go back to, I wish I could get fired, Lisa, I would really tell her, change your attitude because your job right now is an investor in the business that you want to build. So I would have looked at it differently then and seen it for the positives in there. But, hindsight is 2020. So it is what it is. And here we are. And that's the best thing ever.
Okay, that's beautiful. Okay, you've opened Pandora's box, so I want to go in there. Mindset. This is something that we jammed on last time we talked, and it was so important, and it's something I just really want to dive back in with you as well. So when it comes to mindset, where do you think the big mistakes are happening first for so many people?
So I had the opportunity to attend an amazing event in Texas last month. It was called Infinite Receiving Live. And one of the speakers, I think it was Sean Smith, who said, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And as soon as I heard that, and he actually had us do the coolest exercise. So we had to sit with someone and tell us like a really hard moment in our lives where something happened to us. And we had to tell them the biggest victim mode mentality ever. So, I told this story that something had happened to me when I was younger. And I was like, oh, it was the worst. And then he's like, okay, now take that story and change it into this is the best thing that ever happened to you. And here's why. And I had to wrap my head around it. And I reframed that story. And I was like, oh my gosh, that changes everything. And I saw the positive outcomes from that one moment that I had seen as negative my entire 33 years-ish on this planet here. So I started doing that in all areas now. Life doesn't happen to you. It happens for you. I recognize some things that, there were some things that happened to me last year where I had a very specific outcome that I wanted to have happen. Guess what? They didn't happen. But then I would have never stumbled on this rabbit hole of mindset and self-improvement and awareness that I've gone through.
Yep.
So what I didn't want to have happen what I wanted to happen didn't happen, but I wouldn't be where I am now because of it, without it happening.
Totally.
So it's really just about reframing. And something that I've been really digging into lately, I haven't fully wrapped my head around this yet, but I'm not sure if you're familiar with Byron Katie and the work and her 4 questions.
No.
And essentially, the summation of it is if you're arguing with reality, you're crazy. Because you can say what should have happened, what you wanted to happen, but the reality is that it did not. So argue with it all you want to, but that's still not going to change anything. So I've gotten a lot better at being like, okay, well, this is where it is, and let's work with it from here.
I love this because this is very funny because we're talking about this in the interview that I did yesterday with Lee, and we kind of dived into how some like bad stuff can happen in life, like traumatic emotional events that really rock you, and how they can really turn out to be good at the end of the day. But this, like, when we ever go into a conversation like this, I always kind of think of the book Man's Search for Meaning. Like, when you could be in the worst possible situation a human being can be in, like when you are in a camp of just such distraught situation and environment, at the end of the day, you can still only focus on, and you have the power to choose what you focus on. And this is what I think is really becoming a point of what is it that we need to be able to do? Because when we start breaking things down, the way I see this is, okay, the results that we get are from the actions that we take. And the actions that we take are from the thoughts that we have. And the thoughts that we have are from the story that we tell ourselves. So a question I've been like really grappling with is, how do we change that story at the end of the day? Because if we change the story, we change the thoughts, we change the actions, we change the results. And therefore, when you say victim mentality, that's a story that so many people fall into. And I love being able to, the way what you just said, because essentially that's going to the heart of as well, how do I change that story? Because you're changing how you're actually looking at things, and therefore we just need to be able to actually engrave that in and get that moving. So for you right now, what's the story that you want to tell yourself, Lisa?
So, okay, I'll be honest. This is something I'm still very much working on. What's the story I'm telling myself? You know what I'm doing? One practice that I'm implementing that I learned from another entrepreneur is just in the morning, waking up and journaling and saying how your day has gone.
Mm.
I've written it as it is. I've already planned it out. So that's something I'm working to do now to kind of design the story that I want to tell. Full transparency, I definitely still have some limiting beliefs that I'm working on getting past. I'm working on changing the way I show up, the choices that I make, I think in some instances I've been someone who kind of settles and has that like 80% or, oh, I don't know if I'm going to finish the whole thing, but I got 80% of the way, that's good enough, or, this is good enough. And no, I have to really work on remembering that you can go all the way, and there's no reason that somebody else deserves it more than you, and you're not a self-absorbed person because you think you deserve this. Like,
Yes.
you're willing to do the work, you're willing to show up. Why not you? Why not you? Or me, in
Yes,
this case.
no, totally. I love that. And that's so true, because it's not being selfish. And like, I will plus one and thumbs up the journal. My journal's just sitting up there that I do every single morning. And it's something, so like, I get my water, I drink my water, I do my meditation, and then I sit down and journal. And something I've done, I'm always interested to see how people journal, or like just the little twists and turns that we can all take. So for me, I've kind of like got a set, this is what I'm focusing on, what I want to achieve by a certain date. And I'm very clear on what I want to achieve, how am I going to actually achieve it, and then what's the specific date. Then I go into, all right, what does like something about the life that I want to actually create, how can I be in it right now? So I'll choose different situations. It might be like the start of my perfect day. It might be doing whatever. And then I break down, the very last thing that I write is, tonight I'm going to be proud of. And I just simply write, what am I going to be proud of at the end of this day for what I do today? And it was really cool. Like 2 days ago, I just got goosebumps. 2 days ago, I just wrote down, you know what? I just want to have really good quality time with my girls. Like, I just want to have really good quality time with them. I don't want to be too absorbed with work, because like at the moment, like with the summit coming up, with writing the book, with launching 2 new programs, like it's just manic. And I was like, no, you know what? I just want to have really good quality. And we went out for the day. We did some awesome new things, and they were buzzing. Like they were wrapped, and seeing them just absolutely like talking about it. And like at the end of each day, I actually, so with my 3.5-year-old, and I'm starting to kind of do it with my 1-year-old now, but with the 3.5-year-old, I say, what did you do good for someone? What did someone do good for you? And what are you happy about from today? And like those 3 things obviously just get her mind thinking about, well, someone did something good for me, so I can be grateful about that. And I did good for someone else in this, so like she can be happy about it and wants to cultivate that. And it's just kind of like getting some gratefulness back in the day. And for me, I slept with the biggest smile after doing that, and it's something that I just really enjoyed. So this is good. And I know I kind of threw you under the bus with that question, saying, hey, let's throw it out there. But this is what we're here for, Lisa. Like, this is the story we have. And I will say as well, with limiting beliefs, I learned from a guy. I did a talk last year, an online business talk in Sydney, and another guy that spoke was in the self-development, Seth Ellsworth, that I've had on the show. Phenomenal. Totally love him. And he said these few words that just totally changed me. And it's just what I do. 5 words. It's just what I do. And if you say like, I earn $2 million, it's just what I do. Do you know what I mean? I make a massive impact upon millions of people each day. It's just what I do. It's amazing how your mind wraps around this, and it just starts to become the story. Because he says, like, limiting beliefs, we've got more limiting beliefs that we can ever break down. Don't worry about the limiting beliefs. Just simply feed the right portion of what you want to grow, and then you're going to be able to build that up, and it'll just kill off the limiting beliefs anyway, because you're going to be stronger in this area. So with yourself, Lisa, where do you want to take yourself? What is it that you want to grow to? And I want to be able to kind of like peel it back the actions that you're taking because, and I'll give this some context, is you're learning so much right now by talking to so many brilliant people. And I love to see people how they learn and then they apply these things as well. So I'd love to kind of like unravel that and then we can unpack it for the listener.
Okay, sure. So I can share like some sort of strategies and tactics if I'm understanding you correctly.
Yep.
So one thing that I did earlier this year, and I totally geeked out on it. So while everyone was out on New Year's Eve, like getting hammered and partying, my girlfriend came over and we vision boarded our 2017.
That's epic. That's epic. That's really cool.
It's all I wanted to do. It was perfect.
I love
So
that.
I have this amazing Feng Shui vision board because I didn't even know Feng Shuiing was a thing, but apparently it is.
There we go.
And it's up in my bedroom. It's the first thing I see every morning. It's what I go to bed with. It has all the things I want to do in my personal life, the things I would love to do for my mom, the things I want to achieve, the way I want to be seen in the world. Some of the things on that board include I'm becoming a runner this year. I want to run with my business team in California in August. I have my first race on Sunday. So, fingers crossed for me on that one that I hit my goal time. I see the trips that I want to take my mom on out of gratitude of everything she's done for me. I see the way that I want to be investing. I see the toys that I would like to buy myself.
Yep.
But I also see the impact that I want to make on the world. One thing I put up there is that I want to be on stage. I want to be able to share my message. And a few weeks ago, I booked my first speaking gig.
Excellent. Congratulations. That's awesome.
My first paid speaking gig, which is really cool. Before we turned the camera and the recorder on, I used my webcam and I showed you my fridge where I write down my annual goals. I break it down to my quarterly goals. I break it into my monthly goals, and then I break it into my weekly goals, which turns into daily goals. Like that's just a way that I keep so laser focused every single day on what is what do I really want to achieve? And on those days where I'm like, you know what, I really don't feel like going for a run today, or I really couldn't, I'm not in the mood to do X, Y, or Z. But then you remember that that's not the mentality that people who really get what they want have. It's not always about what you want to do. It's about what did you commit to doing. And that's something that's been really getting me through it. I've got 3 accountability partners who've also turned into awesome friends. So, they will give me that loving little kick in the butt. Did you do what you said you were going to do today? Where's that integrity?
Yeah, I love that. I think you don't always have to want to do what you need to do. You don't have to always, I really want to go to the gym. That ain't going to happen every single day. That's only not the case. But it's just what you've got to do. And I love how I think there's a couple of really important things. One, the vision board and you going through what you do. You've got very clear certainty on what it is that you actually want. I think that's the most important thing for the listener right now. If you're not clear on exactly it is that you want, first get clear on it, because if you don't know what you want, then you're just going to be like a fart in the wind and you're just going to go anywhere and it doesn't matter. The second thing is you just broke it down. Really simply, you reverse engineered it. You go, I want this at this point, so therefore I need to do this by this point, and then just break it on down all the way. And it's excellent. 12 months, quarters, months, weeks, days. It's not that hard, and it's exactly like I've got my documents right here that I quickly open up, boom, write it straight down. So therefore, even on a daily basis, and I think this is where it really comes into the importance, and what I kind of want to go through with you now is how are you structuring your days to now make sure that you're doing what you do and you enjoy the process as well?
So one thing for me is, and I've fallen out of practice in this in the last week, so full transparency on that one, but I am working to get back into it, is I do my to-do list the night before.
Yeah.
Before I go to bed, I think about, okay, what do I want to accomplish today, personally, professionally? Where do I see myself working? Because I don't have an office space. I can work from home, the library, a coffee shop. So I really try and think the night before, where do I want to be tomorrow? How do I see my day unfolding? Who am I spending it with? And it's a very interesting mix of, I'm a total type A controller, if you can't tell already, but I'm also really learning how to let go and let the universe, take the lead. It's not always necessarily up to me. So that's something I'm working on balancing out right now.
Okay. I love that. That's really good. Okay. I want to talk about the summit that you're doing right now. Why are you doing it?
So I think I started to allude to earlier, and if I didn't fully explain the whole story, so I've been working in publicity for about 10 years now, and I got into fitness publicity specifically about 7 years ago. And I just got to this point when I was working in a corporation. It was just so much red tape and just so much money to throw away on campaigns. And I just saw this incredible surgence of people who are doing what they're passionate about. They're leaving those safe 9 to 5 jobs or getting out of boring cubicle land to do something that's really going to make a positive impact on other people's lives. But here's the challenge when those entrepreneurs are looking for marketers, publicists to work with. Oh, yeah, sure, no problem. It's $10,000 a month, sign a 12-month retainer right here.
Yeah.
That's not realistic. So I started my business as a way for those people to get access to marketing and publicity strategies. But what I'm finding is even though, I have, again, I don't want this to sound cocky, but I'm confident in what I do.
You should,
I bring
absolutely,
anything
yes.
value to the table. I do. I have a really killer track record in what I do. But the reality is that a lot of entrepreneurs still weren't able to put that in their budget.
Yep.
So what I'm doing right now is creating a summit called the Audience Attraction Formula, how to get new clients in the next 30 days, even if you're starting from scratch. And what I've done is really, I built out a list of all the health, fitness, and wellness successful entrepreneurs that are doing an amazing job. And I've reached out to them to see if I can do 30-minute interviews with them on video. And you were my first one that I interviewed. And I've just been talking to them about how do you build your empire? What are your tips for success? What are the biggest mistakes you see people making? What do you wish you knew when you started? So I've been able to get all this awesome knowledge from over 20 different experts. And now I'm sharing that, and there's no charge to attend the event. So this is my way of really bringing together some really valuable information that's going to make a significant impact on people's lives.
Fantastic. Okay, where do people go to actually get a part of this?
So the event begins on April the 3rd. It runs through April 14th, where I'll be releasing about 2 to 3 interviews every day. And to get access to the event, people log on to www.audienceattractionformula.com. And then they just sign up for the event. And then starting on April 3rd, every day they'll get some interviews from me. They can download the MP3. They can watch the video. So if you're commuting, if you're at home, no matter how you consume it, you get to digest all of this information from people who are making 6, 7, 8-figure salaries, people who are, like you, living around the world. They have that travel freedom. They're able to give their families all kinds of cool experiences. Like a lot of things that people just getting onto this journey only dream of. Now we're getting the experts to tell you step by step how they got there and really give you some real inspiration on how you can do it for yourself.
Excellent. Okay, we're going to make sure that we get the link to the audience attraction formula right there. Now, before I let you go, Lisa, what's the one thing that you ask of the audience? What do you want them to actually take action on, right? Other than actually signing up for the audience attraction formula, that's a no-brainer. What do you ask of them to actually follow through with?
Implement. Absolutely implement. So something that I haven't shared publicly, and I wasn't really planning on saying anything till closer to the release date, but now that you've got me on this tangent, I'm all super fired up. What I've been doing with every interview is I've been really pulling out the key takeaways. And I've created a workbook that's kind of like a fill in the blank style. So before the event even begins, people will be able to download this workbook and they already get a glimpse of what they're going to be learning. And then they have to actually pay attention to this so that they can fill in those blanks so that you can, before it even begins, you see the kind of value that you're going to take.
Yeah.
And then once you fill that out, you see the actionable steps. Because I think we all go into events, we're like, yeah, this is awesome, we're going to implement this. And then you leave and absolutely nothing happens.
Yes.
So what I want to see is people who take legitimate action. So hopefully this workbook gives people the, that kind of mind written connection, whatever the technical term is, to put their plans into writing and put them into words and then come up with a strategy they can actually implement in their business that will legitimately bring them more clients into their business so that they, number one, can make a bigger impact, because I think that's the most important thing, to have that ripple effect. And of course, to make a better living, to earn a bigger income, because the reality is we're in business and we got to be able to eat and pay our rent. So I really hope that this is a way that we can pay our amazing knowledge in the world forward to the people who want to improve their lives. And also, something Denise Duffield Thomas says that I love is you serve, you deserve. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with making sales. So no, if you're serving, then you totally deserve to reap the benefits of that. Totally. So that's what I want to see people do.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I think that's the perfect way to end this. And it's so true. I 100% agree. Lisa, you've absolutely rocked this. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing this. I knew you were up to and ready to let's get deep. Do you know what I mean? After our last conversation. And I really appreciate it. It's awesome for you to be able to really share the things that are going on with you, because now the audience can really take this on and start following through. So you're a rock star, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's great chatting with you because you have this amazing way of like, I don't think I've ever been so vulnerable or candid on a podcast. So you have a really awesome way of just bringing people's truth out. And thank you so much, because you can see I'm all goosebumpy now. So I'm about to have the most amazing evening and weekend, because energetically I was like maybe riding a 7 or 8 just now, and I'm totally an 11.
Yes. All right. Well, let's continue to live at 11, and you're a rock star. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thanks, Chris.
Now it's time for you to get the most out of this, and this is where I can jump in and give the answers that you need. So ask your questions in the comments below so I can personally come through and answer them for you. Plus, the best discussions happen on chrisdufay.com, so click on over to get everything that I've got there for you. And did you like this episode? Because if so, click subscribe so I can send you all the episodes to come for free straight to you. And for everything that I can't fit in these episodes, plus the free guides and coaching episodes, then click on over to chrisdufay.com now. Looking forward to seeing you soon and in the success community.